If you think coffee dehydrates you or stunts your growth, think again. That cup of coffee you're holding isn't the villain it's made out to be. Caffeine is everywhere, and yet, it's wildly misunderstood. So today, we will be debunking 8 of the most persistent caffeine myths. Number 1. Coffee dehydrates you. You probably heard this one before, maybe from a well-meaning friend or even a health blog. But is there any truth to it, or is it just another coffee misconception? Yes, it's true that caffeine is a mild diuretic, which means it can make you need to pee a little more often. But here's the important part. The water in your coffee more than makes up for any minor loss of fluids. In fact, scientific studies have shown that for most healthy adults, drinking coffee in moderation doesn't actually cause dehydration. So, your morning cup of coffee isn't just a wake-up call. It's also contributing to your daily fluid intake and helping to keep you hydrated. To actually risk dehydration, you'd have to drink an extreme amount. Think 5 or 6 very strong coffees in a short period of time. For most people, that's way more than they'd ever drink at once. And honestly, if you're drinking that much coffee, you'll probably be dealing with jitters, anxiety, or a racing heart long before dehydration becomes an issue. So, don't worry. Your daily coffee habit isn't turning you into a dried-up raisin. That's just a funny exaggeration. In reality, your coffee is actually helping you meet your hydration needs, just like any other beverage that contains water. So next time someone claims coffee dehydrates you, you can confidently tell them the science says otherwise. Your coffee is safe, and so is your hydration. Number 2. Caffeine gives you energy. Here's a shocker. Most people think that caffeine is a magical source of energy, a quick fix that powers you through your day. But the truth is a bit more complicated, and maybe even a little disappointing. Despite what it feels like, caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. There's no extra fuel being added to your system when you drink that cup of coffee or energy drink. What caffeine really does is trick your brain. It works by blocking adenosine, a natural chemical in your brain, that builds up throughout the day and makes you feel tired and ready for rest. So, instead of actually giving you more energy, caffeine just masks your exhaustion. You feel more awake, but it's only because your brain can't register how tired you really are. Meanwhile, the real adenosine is still building up in the background, quietly stacking up, just waiting for its chance to make you feel sleepy again. When the caffeine finally wears off, all that built-up tiredness comes crashing down on you at once. That's the infamous caffeine crash, a sudden wave of exhaustion that can leave you feeling even more drained than before. Think of caffeine like turning off your brain's low battery warning. You're not actually charging up. You're just ignoring the signals telling you to rest. In a way, you're borrowing alertness from your future self, and eventually, you'll have to pay it back, with interest. And yes, the bill always comes due. The more you rely on caffeine, the bigger that bill can get, both in terms of tiredness and dependence. So remember, caffeine isn't energy in a cup. It's just a clever illusion. Use it wisely and don't expect magic. Listen to your body and give it the real rest it needs. Number 3. Caffeine doesn't affect your sleep. Think your morning coffee can't mess with your sleep? Think again. While it's tempting to believe that an early cup of coffee is harmless, the reality is more complicated than it seems. Many people assume that as long as they avoid caffeine in the evening, their sleep will be safe. But the science tells a different story. Caffeine's half-life is about 5 to 6 hours, which means it takes that long for just half of the caffeine to leave your system. So, even if you drink coffee in the morning or early afternoon, caffeine can linger in your body for much longer than you might expect. For example, if you have a coffee at 3 p.m., by the time you're getting ready for bed, about half of that caffeine is still circulating in your bloodstream. This can make it harder to wind down, even if you don't feel wired. You might be able to fall asleep, but the quality of your deep, restorative sleep can take a hit. Caffeine can reduce the amount of deep sleep you get, leaving you feeling less refreshed in the morning, even if you technically got enough hours of rest. Genetics play a big role too. Some people metabolize caffeine much more slowly than others. If you're a slow metabolizer, caffeine can stick around in your system well into the night, making sleep disruption even more likely. For these individuals, even a late morning cup of coffee can be enough to disrupt sleep quality, leading to grogginess and fatigue the next day. The best move? Set a caffeine curfew for yourself. Try to cut off your caffeine intake at least 8 hours before you plan to go to bed. This gives your body enough time to process most of the caffeine and helps protect your sleep. Remember, protecting your sleep is just as important as boosting your wakefulness. Good sleep is the foundation of your health and energy. Your morning coffee actually starts a countdown clock in your body, ticking away the hours until bedtime. Don't let that clock run into your night. Be mindful of when you have your last cup, and give your body the best chance for restful, restorative sleep. Number 4. Caffeine stunts growth. The old "coffee stunts your growth" myth? Total fiction. There's zero scientific evidence linking caffeine to reduced height. This myth started as a marketing ploy for coffee alternatives, not real science. Caffeine's tiny effect on calcium is easily offset by a splash of milk. Modern studies show no connection between caffeine and stunted growth. Your height is determined by genetics and nutrition, not your coffee habit. So, let go of the guilt and enjoy your cup. Number 5. Caffeine is bad for your heart. Does coffee wreck your heart? Not for most people. Caffeine can temporarily raise heart rate and blood pressure, but for healthy folks, this isn't dangerous. In fact, moderate coffee drinkers have a lower risk of heart disease and stroke. The antioxidants in coffee may actually help your heart. Of course, moderation is key. Too much can cause jitters and anxiety. If you have a heart condition, follow your doctor's advice. But for most, your daily cup is more friend than foe. Science says, sip without fear. Number 6. Caffeine is highly addictive. Is caffeine as addictive as hard drugs? Not even close. Caffeine causes dependence, not true addiction. You might get headaches or feel tired if you quit suddenly, but these symptoms are temporary. Caffeine doesn't hijack your brain's reward system like real addictive drugs. Withdrawal peaks in a day or two and fades within a week. So yes, you can be dependent, but it's not a destructive addiction. Don't trivialize real addiction by comparing it to your morning coffee. Enjoy your brew. Just know your limits. Number 7. Caffeine improves focus. Caffeine can boost alertness, but it's not a universal focus pill. It mainly helps when you're tired, bringing you back to your normal baseline. The sweet spot is about 1 to 2 small cups for most people. More than that, and you risk jitters, anxiety, and scattered thoughts. Everyone reacts differently. Genetics, tolerance, and even your mood matter. For some, even a little caffeine can cause over-arousal and hurt concentration. More isn't always better. Find your minimum effective dose. Use caffeine as a tool, not a crutch. Balance is everything. Number 8. Caffeine only has negative effects. Caffeine isn't just a necessary evil, it has real benefits. Moderate coffee drinkers have a lower risk of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and depression. It can boost metabolism and athletic performance. The key is, once again, moderation. Caffeine isn't a magic bullet, but it's not a villain either. Use it wisely, alongside good sleep, diet, and exercise. Smart, informed consumption is the goal. So that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe for more health curiosities and content. Thanks for watching and see you all next time.